Hey guys, and welcome back for another video. So I've been poking around on Rumble again, and I happened to stumble upon a pretty nice clip of Tommy Sotomayor talking about his own situation dealing with people and colorism. So if you're here, thank you so much. Do like the screen says. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Of course, subscribe. And yeah, let's get into this, shall we?
I remember when I used to go visit with them. He was one of the few men that I knew, and I met them in college. And I only knew the man for a little while. Before I got my job at IBM, when I got out of school, I was working for selling insurance in Stone Mountain because one of the worst feelings in the world is when you get out of school, you can't find a job. But I was going to work anywhere because you got to start paying them loans back. So I got an insurance job, and I was selling insurance. And his dad was so nice to me. First off, it was fucked up because the insurance I sold him was not better than the insurance he had. He had Allstate insurance, and I sold him some bullshit. But he knew I needed the sale. He transferred his house, their 3 cars, over to my insurance just so I would get the sale. His dad did it. My mom them didn't sign over my insurance. My aunt them didn't sign over my insurance. My cousin them didn't sign over my insurance. None of them did it. His dad did it. And his dad was one of them, one of them niggas that's real light skinned. So he was light skinned as fuck. That's why Tyrone and them look big with their big, they look white with their big old heads. But his dad was light skinned as fuck. And so the mama was Asian. So, that's why they came out like that. Because I said, what makes your dad take a liking to me? And he said, he just think you cool. Now, mind you, the first his daddy heard of me, I robbed his sons. This is a true story. Because I thought they were just some light-skinned lames. I'm going to tell you how we dark-skinned men feel. We meet y'all light-skinned niggas, you some light-skinned lame. I thought he was just some light-skinned lame. I was in school and I had no money. So I was stealing shit from them. I did white boy stealing. I would borrow their clothes and not give it back. I didn't care who they were or what they were. I just looked at it like this. And this is why I'm telling y'all, sometimes when you're a good parent, you have to be careful who you let your kids hang around. Because they hang around some kids who are jealous of them. I was one of those kids who was jealous of him. I was jealous he had a family. I was jealous they gave them a car. It's the same thing why these women put their light bill and phone bill in their children's name. Why do they do it? Because they believe by the time they get grown, it'll fall off. Tell me I'm lying. That's why they do it. They'll fuck up their credit, but by the time they get grown, they won't know. It'll fall off. They'll be able to say, we don't know what happened, but they're not worried about it right then. Right then, it's mama need this. And I had seen that my whole life. So when I saw them, I said, fuck them. Fuck them light-skinned motherfuckers, them light-skinned pretty motherfuckers. They had a nice life anyway.
I feel you on that shit because the dark skinned person, you always feel like they always got shit they didn't deserve anyway. So fuck it.
Ooh. And then years later, we became like really good friends. But I will say this: when me and Tyrone got into an argument over a girl, his first thing he finally said when it was a girl that he really liked, he said, "She wouldn't sleep with no nigga black as ugly as you." So I always thought my light-skinned friend did not look at me that way. He didn't until he thought I slept with a girl that he really liked. And when I confirmed it, he said, no, she would never sleep with somebody as black and ugly as you.
Wow, what a heartbreaking story. No, not really. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say that he got a little bit of karma just off of the fact that you were stealing from those guys to begin with. And I wonder, did they ever know that you were stealing from them? I guess he did, seeing as how he said that that's how his dad found out about him. But their dad actually sounds like kind of weird for that. I definitely wouldn't be befriending people that stole from my children. That's, like I said, though, it's a sad story, but it's very typical in a sense because I definitely have heard that, being jealous of lighter skinned people is definitely not just a black woman's thing. It's definitely like a darker skinned people's thing in general. And I'm not saying all by any stretch of the imagination. There are definitely some fully loving and confident in themselves, born again, definitely ready for the world, dark-skinned people who are not jealous of light-skinned people. But I have heard this story plenty of times, needless to say. I'm just, I'm applauding Tommy Sotomayor for actually admitting these things, especially at the status that he has in his life and the things that he's attained. To be able to look back and say, hey, I did something wrong in my past, and these were behaviors that I had. He's not just always calling out black women. People always want to say, oh, he's always calling out black women and trying to make black women look bad. But here he, as himself, admitted that he was jealous of lighter skinned people too. Jealous of biracial people too. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's definitely not good to be jealous of anybody on this planet. You should always be grateful for where you are and who you are in this life, because light-skinned people, biracial people don't have it all. Like, a lot of people have this misconception and notion of believing they go through and have some of the same problems that everyone else does in life. Like, for instance, having people assume that you're weak or a punk, like he just pretty much said. He assumed that they were some lames just because they were biracial. And then having people gank your stuff because they think that they can because you're light skinned or biracial. Having to prove yourself as something that I saw my own brother as a biracial man have to do plenty of times. Being in situations where he had groups of black boys who were racially ambiguous or biracial, but not to the degree that I would say my appearance and my brother. We look like we could be another race. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of times where there's a misconception that I'm Arabic or like Latino, something 100% that I'm not. I guess I shouldn't say they were ambiguous, because you knew they was black at the end of the day, but it just was well known that they were biracial. But even they joined in on trying to intimidate my brother and things like that when we were way back, like when I remember in middle school. So these are things that I saw a lot of lighter skinned men go through. Now, as far as I go, I don't recall having any black women try to pick on me. You know, thankfully I stand almost 6 feet off of the ground, so I think my appearance in and of itself is quite imposing. So I've never had to deal with anyone trying to try me or come at me crazy, because I mean, really, like, most people would assume that I probably would have squashed them or something. Like, bro, you're not going to come at the 6-foot girl who's athletic at the end of the day. Like, you'd be looking at her thinking that she could just punch you and then you're like out for the count, or kick you with her really strong muscular legs, which I've been told too. I've had grown men tell me that they wouldn't want to be kicked by my legs. But it's just one of those things where, even though I didn't experience it myself, I have heard other stories of other biracial girls and boys say things like this. And it's just nice to hear a person who is dark, admit to it. And so that's why I wanted to call this video out, to highlight that, I sympathize with how he felt, because maybe he grew up in a home where he, grew up less fortunate, and he was looking at their situation and being jealous. And then to turn around and have their dad like actually reach out and be nice to him and help him in his young life and endeavors, it's a good story. Like I said, it probably wouldn't be me. I, for one, am very protective of my children. I wouldn't be the type of person that would be nice to people that weren't nice to my kids. But that's just me. But in and of itself, this was a good story. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment. If you have a story like it or a situation similar, leave it in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're here. I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you next time.